All right, y'all. Today it is, well, it's looking through the glass, and I did not do this right today because I normally have somebody else with me, and she is not here today. But we do have a special guest, Adrienne Caldwell. I hope I said that right because my,
You did.
all right. And she has a book release coming up, and her story is one that I have resonated with me in several areas, but it also is an unimaginable story, and she's sharing it with the world, and man, that is something that I admire more than anything. Um, Adrian, would you like to take it away real fast?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Giselle. So, yeah, I'm Adrienne Caldwell, and I wrote a book, Unbroken Life Outside the Lines. It's the story of my life from early childhood to early 20s. And during this time, and audience, this is trigger warnings coming up. During that time, I was either the witness to or the victim of the sexual assault of a young girl, the drowning death of another child, emotional and physical abuse, extreme poverty, mental illness, homelessness, horrifically abusive foster care, bulimia, drug and alcohol addiction, pedophilia, death, suicide, and incest. And this is where there's normally a big oomph.
It's a lot, and that's a lot for a human to endure, especially a young woman. You know, and that age range is right around my age range where experienced a lot of those traumas too. And to be here now and talking about it, it's weird to me.
Really? It's been a long time coming for me. Um, Growing up, I went to 13 different schools by the time I graduated high school, and I learned how to be a chameleon, how to meet people, how to talk to people, and always have the conversation on them, never have it on me. And the few times that I would talk about myself, I got the exact same feedback, and it was always, you should write a book. I've heard that since I was like 15 years old. And at 40, I was finally able to go through my Children's Protective Services case file. I received the documents, which it was a giant box of these two huge piles of paper, like everything that was ever written about me. It was in that box. It took me 2 decades, took me over 20 years to be able to go into that box and go through those documents. But yeah, I finally said that it was time to start writing and to put my story out there. I say, you'll hear me say that I wasn't a good person the first half of my life, and that's true. I wasn't. I did make amends about 6 years ago. I reached out as much as I could, and not for them, not for me, not for my gratitude, but to let them know that they were wronged, they were hurt, and I recognize that. So that was kind of the precursor to going into my CPS files and being triggered and emotional. I actually reached out to lawyers and the state and the counties to report the abuse that I endured while I was in foster care, which it was just emotional and psychological. It wasn't sexual or physical abuse, but I kept reaching out to report what was done to me, and everyone said, "Well, it's too late. You only have 2 years to report it. There's nothing you can do." And that's, that combined with, hearing my entire life, you should write a book. Those were the catalysts, and wanting to give back, to put something out into the world instead of just taking. I I wanted to give something to people who've gone through trauma or who are living in trauma. My books really not for anyone under 18. It's not for, it's just not. Um, but I have a feeling teens are going to resonate with it and they're going to read it anyway. But it those things combined, and I started writing as a way to reclaim my voice and to tell my story, my truth,
Yeah.
how I viewed what had happened to me.
Yes.
And having my CPS case documents, it gives you the clinical perspective, which is when I read the psychiatric evaluation, the first one, the one when I was 13, it's on my website, Unbroken Caldwell. It's also at the end of my book. I put my psychiatric evaluation at the end of my book,
Wow.
and along with the abuse diagrams from the last beating that I ever received from my mother. I've included those. Um, you can see the little drawings. Um, I put that there, but that evaluation, like, they understood who I was to the core. Like, they just nailed it. It was two psychiatrists who did my evaluation, and I mean, I of course I didn't get to read it at the time. I didn't read it until years, a few years ago. But anybody, if anybody back in my past would have read that evaluation, they would have understood what I was going through, and they would have been better able to help me, because I did have a few advocates, a few people, a few teachers. I have an aunt, and they helped me survive everything that I listed under the trigger warnings. So I didn't do it alone, and it's taken me 25 years to get here. And writing the book has been a 5-year journey, and it's been incredibly traumatic because I've had to relive every experience. And for anyone thinking about writing a book, definitely make sure you have your support system in place. You're going to need it. Your therapist, your psychiatrist, your friends, people that you can go to, because if you've gone through trauma and you decide to write about it, it's going to trigger you. That's why it took me 5 years, because I would
Yeah.
write and I would just, it was too much. I had to put it, I use a metaphor. I say that I put my traumas in a box, and the box goes on the shelf, and then the door gets closed. And that's
Yeah.
where all of my trauma lives. And writing the book is like I had to open the door and take the box out and open it up and take the trauma out and really relive it, in order, because the book is radically honest. They've said unflinching, harrowing. It's very dark at points, because I did want to be authentic, and I did want to say how it really was for me. I didn't want to sugarcoat it. So, but the book is ultimately about healing and resilience and doing more than just surviving, going to thriving. So,
Love how you put that. That is beautifully put with the going into thriving. Because sometimes some people, after unveiling their trauma, they have hit a stagnant point where it's been revealed, but they don't go any further. And I feel that thriving from it helps us. You end up writing a book, or we end up starting a podcast, because that's what we ended up doing. And honestly, I know we said this before that we started recording, just reading your documents. I'm 28 years old. My traumas are not that far behind. Um, and a lot of people give, like your mom and you have traumas from your mom, and you guys are doing a podcast together. And Yeah, because I have healing that, she's passed down a lot of traumas on me, and I have a lot of healing. And 5 years ago, if I looked at her and told her that she did something to me and I am now facing it, and she hurt me, she would have just told me, well, you did something to deserve it, or you know she
Yeah.
would put that on me. And just about 2 years ago is when she started going, no, that's your reality, that's what you went through, and I did that to you, and I apologize for that. And
That's incredible. That's
it
incredible.
it took me, so it still takes me sometimes to understand that she's not that person that she was, and that she has, healed. And I also wanted to ask you, did you do any healing, or did prior to uncovering your documents, or did you just started healing when you started going through them, starting your healing process?
So, when I was in foster care, I was technically in therapeutic foster care. There was a therapist that came every other week. So, I started therapy then. Um, I had a suicide attempt where I put a gun to my temple and pulled the trigger. So, I was hospitalized, mandatory 72-hour psych hold.
Whoa.
Um, I'm sorry, I forgot the question.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm a dingbat
You
today.
are perfectly fine. Did when you were going through the, like, did you, hold on, let me phrase this
Okay,
correctly.
okay. So I was done with talk therapy. I didn't want to talk about it anymore. I felt like I knew what I got everything out of talk therapy that I could. My psychiatrist, whom I love, I was with her from 2008 until last summer when she retired. And she was my
Okay.
touchstone, and we had a really special relationship. It, professional, but I was able to talk with her, and she stayed with me for, oh, God, how long is that? 2008 to 2025? That's a long
Almost
time.
10 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So when she retired, it's like crushing me because she witnessed so much of my life, and what the the trajectory that changed my life. There were two times in my life where um, life experience, God, religion, whatever you want to call it, um, life intervened. The first was I won a congressional scholarship to do a 1 year foreign exchange to Germany. And my junior year of high school, I spent in Germany, and my host family was amazing. So coming from a horrifically abusive foster home, like we were not, the girls were not allowed to sit on the furniture. We had to sit on the floor like dogs, and we had separate food and separate dishes and utensils, and there was only one shower in the house, and the last foster girl that showered had to clean the tub with bleach before the foster family would use it. So deeply dehumanizing, just awful, just awful. And I say that, I've made amends, and I've forgiven everyone in my life with the exception of her. And in my book, her name is, am I allowed to curse?
No, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Her name is the bitch from hell. And that's her name, the bitch from hell, Dodd. And I refer to her as TBFH because what she did to me, I still have nightmares about. Like I had one a month ago. Um, and my schizophrenic mother who beat me with a closet rod, like a wooden dowel rod, essentially a baseball bat. I've never had a nightmare about her. So my host family, being with a family that was functional and healthy and happy, and they respected me, and I blossomed. And then the next trajectory change, so college, drugs, drinking, spiraling. I did graduate in 3 years, but yeah, there was cocaine addiction. There, yeah, alcohol, lots of bad decisions, graduated, still drinking. And when I was 25, I had my daughter. And because of all the traumas I had been through, I have early onset reactive attachment disorder. I don't bond with people the way that other people do. My daughter was born August 7th, and in a second psych eval, which is also on Unbroken Caldwell, my website, there's a quote that says Adrienne is terrified of having children because she's afraid that she's going to do to them what was done to her. So when she was born, I was just completely overwhelmed, and I was telling my husband, and his parents had come over. They were all from England. They were there, and I was telling him, I can't do this. I can't raise her. Take her with you. Go back to England. Raise her. I can't do this. And on November 8th, 2005, so she was born August 7th, 2005. On November 8th, I woke up. I had passed out on the bathroom floor mat. I woke up hungover, and that was the day that I decided that I was going to be her mother. I was going to do it, and I was going to give her the childhood that I didn't get. And while she has not had a perfect childhood, her dad, my husband, passed away when she was 10 years old. Yeah, that threw a real wrench in the works. I feel like she didn't go through what I went through. I feel like I stopped the cycle of generational trauma. You know, my schizophrenic, physically abusive grandfather to my schizophrenic, physically abusive mother down to me, and I stopped it.
Wow.
So,
Sorry, you got me teary-eyed over it because I know how I'm feeling that now. I have a almost 11-week-old baby and it's a daughter, and my grandmother has passed down. There's been traumas passed down to my mom, and I have the biggest fear that I'm an adequate mom and I'm not going to do well, and I'm going to do exactly what my mom did to me, to her. And, that is a very common, I feel that's very common for us to have for those who have been traumatically abused in their childhood, especially in their teen years. I was 13. I was sexually assaulted at 8, and then, sexually assaulted again at 14, and then again at 16.
oh my
So,
God.
those fears hit on me too. I'm like, I
All
don't
right,
want her to go through that. And so, I decided I need to get through my traumas so she can live in a happy home, and
right,
my actual relationship with my husband can be a good relationship too, because my traumas were going into my relationship with my husband.
right,
And
right.
yeah, and that's why because there's so many things that line up with us that I was like, I wonder if, when you started your healing process, have you ever uncovered anything that you're like, just randomly remembered a trauma that you just remembered and you had shoved far away?
Oh, they were all shoved far away. I shoved them down um, since they happened. I repressed them. I really didn't start truly addressing them until I started writing this book. And that's it forced me to open those boxes. And it's been incredibly cathartic. Um, Probably the most difficult thing I've ever done because I did have to force it. So even though I don't do talk therapy, I am still working on myself. I do. Have you ever heard of TMS? It's
Sounds familiar.
transcranial magnetic stimulation.
I have not heard of that one yet.
So they put this machine on your head and it taps your head and sends these electric pulses to your brain. Because when you go through trauma, the neural connections in your brain, they start to wither and they can die and they disconnect. So this machine actually reactivates those neural connections. So I've done 27 sessions. I have to do 36, and it's already helping. So I'm not done healing, and honestly, I don't think I'll ever be done
Yeah,
healing. But that's my situation and my issue. It's not something that I bring to my daughter. Like we don't
exactly.
talk about my past. I mean, I've shared some things, especially like suicide and depression and things, because I have to watch her. And when she was 14 and came to me and said that she was struggling with depression, that I immediately made a psychiatrist appointment, and we dealt with it, because mental illness, it's in my family. I mean, my grandfather's schizophrenic, my mother was schizophrenic, my cousin is schizophrenic. I have my own mental issues. So like I've been watching her since she was a baby to make sure that, because I knew, I mean, it's in the genes. Even if you
Yeah,
have a perfect childhood, or as good as you can, it's still possible, because so much of it's not just emotional, it's chemical. It's
yeah,
your brain. And I always use this metaphor or analogy that diabetics, their bodies don't produce the insulin they need, so they have to give the insulin to their body themselves. People with mental illnesses, our brains have stopped producing the chemicals that we need to be happy, to function. So we have to provide those chemicals to our body ourselves. And would anyone ever judge a diabetic or say that the diabetic was defective or broken? No, of course not.
absolutely not.
It's the exact same thing with mental illness. It's the exact same thing. And it took me decades to understand that, to learn that. When I was first diagnosed at 13 and with dysthymia, which is the precursor to major depressive disorder, and at 15 I was diagnosed with MDD. I went back to the foster home that evening and took my razor apart and cut my wrists, because I thought that I was broken. I thought that I was defective, no good, broken, and that was my first iteration of suicidal ideation at 15 years old. And it came because I didn't understand what taking medication meant. And so one of the things I'm on my soapbox right now. Taking medication does not mean you're flawed. It's a
Absolutely not.
biological, chemical situation, especially if you have trauma, and repeated recurring trauma like your situation. And oh my god, I'm so sorry you went through all of that, the sexual abuse. That's horrific and should never happen to anybody. um it's your brain shuts down. It
It
stops
does.
making those chemicals, and I didn't know that at 15. And this is so I cut my wrists across. And when the bitch from hell saw it, her words were, well, you didn't even do it right. You're not supposed to cut across, you're supposed to cut down the vein. That's what she told me.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's wow. I
Yeah.
don't even have words for that. That's absolutely horrendous. That she very much treated you like you were just nothing.
Yeah. The foster girls were beneath her. I
Yeah,
think there's something in her past where she felt the need to, she probably didn't have a lot of self worth. And by trivializing us, or diminishing the foster girls, putting us down, made her feel like she was better than us, and it gave her a self-esteem boost, is probably what I think. And that's the nicest I've ever been about her,
Mhm.
because what
Yeah,
she did was, I don't care what you've gone through in your life, you don't do that to kids.
absolutely not.
And another here another time I was trying on swimsuits, and I came out and I showed her, and she looked at me and she said, "Your thighs are fat. I'm surprised you haven't started throwing up to lose weight." That's a quote. Those were her exact words verbatim. And
Oh
that
my,
started a battle with bulimia that's lasted to this day. I still struggle with bulimia.
oh my goodness. I am so sorry that you were told that. That is absolutely horrendous. I I had I don't understand why people are like that towards especially children or teenagers when it comes to anything like that. I've been told something similar. You would be prettier if you lost weight. And that comes to a battle where I don't eat. And, um,
Do you struggle with eating disorder?
I probably do. And I don't recognize it. I probably do. I have a tendency where I don't eat all day. It's I forget type thing. And then if I do eat, I snack on something and then I go on about my day. Or I'll eat dinner and that's it. I allow myself to get sick. Um, or I don't throw up or anything, but I will starve myself and start to feel nauseous and then ooh, I need to eat and then I won't eat and it goes away.
Yeah.
And that of course raises my cortisol and causes, the heavyweight side of things, the heavyweight problems. And I've had that since I was 13, 14 years old. I've always done that. Um, and I even through my pregnancy, I was trying to eat and I couldn't. I have a really hard time, and sometimes I have to go towards, THC or of that sort to help
Mm-hmm.
me
Mm-hmm.
because it allows me to actually eat something.
So when my husband travels for work, depending on what I've been going through, I engage in bulimia. I binge
Oh
and
my
purge.
goodness, I am
So
so
I'm
sorry that
not
you go through
perfect yet. I am not recovered. I'm not, magically healed. I'm I am not where I was when I was 18 years old or 25 years old. I am so much in a better place. Like, my life now is amazing. I have an incredible husband. My daughter is doing well. I am so blessed and so grateful. And it actually took several years with my husband. So again, my daughter's father passed. I did remarry. He's an incredible stepfather, and yeah, my life now. If you had shown the 15-year-old Adrienne the life that I have now, the 15-year-old Adrienne would have called you a liar. I would not have been able to believe that my life could be this good. But I do still get triggered reading my book, editing it. So writing it and then having to read it to edit it, like, it brings all of it back up. And I yeah, part of
I
part of my coping is bulimia. And I try very hard not to do it. Um, but it depends on my stress level. If I get really stressed, if I get triggered, I have a tendency to do it, especially when there's no one around to see me. And I've been bulimic since I was 15 years old.
wow. I will. Well, you're showing the world that you're not going to be perfect after trauma. You're not. We're not supposed to be. And, we're human and we're living human experiences, but you are where you are at now, and you are voicing up and speaking about these traumas, and there's truths to this, and there's other people who have been through it. and faced it, and they don't know how to use their voice either. And you're showing that, yes, you're still healing, but as you're healing, you're getting further and you're progressing more and more.
Yes.
And that right there is beautiful alone. You will get through it. It's just another battle for you, but you got this because you are one resilient woman. I want you to
That's
know that you are resilient.
that is true. That is true.
Yes, you will. I
Um,
know. I feel that from you. You have such a beautiful part about you that I love you being so open and honest with it all. And I I'm learning to have my voice because I was taught children are to be seen, not to
oh
speak.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You
I
know, not
military family. My grandfather was Navy military. And there was no back talk. They gave a command, you obeyed. Yeah, and no talking about any of the issues. Everything under the
no.
rug. Keep one foot in front of the other. We're just moving forward. Very stoic. We don't talk about anything bad. We just go.
Hmm.
And that was passed down from my grandparents to my mother and her siblings down to me. And that's how I functioned for most of my adult life, was just repress everything else
Hmm.
and just stoically move forward. Basically get over it. Get over
Yep.
it. Move on.
If I
And
spoke up at all, it would be you're just too sensitive. You're overly sensitive. You need to learn how to not be so sensitive. You need to, you know, shush up. That's not how you act. And that was it teaches you not to talk about your problems and then you just pile it on. And nobody knew
absolutely.
anything that's happened to me my entire life until just about maybe not even a year ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, nobody
Wow.
knew about all these sexual assaults, not and nobody knew about all the abuse that I faced. Nobody knew the sexual assault that happened when I was 14 was a 40-year-old man and I was being groomed. And I didn't think it was a sexual assault because I was okay with it. And my mom was like, and when I finally told my mom, she was like, "Honey, no, you were 14. That's grooming." And I was like, I just thought because I climbed it in the car and just accepted it, it was okay.
Yeah.
And
I
it
I
happened
have
on
a
multiple
similar
counts.
story. I have, it's in the book. I'm not going to talk about it now,
I would love to
but
read it.
it's in the book. I've Mine was 28 years older and lasted over 8 years. So, and I still don't view it the way that I'm supposed to. I still I don't want to talk about it. So let's
Okay,
just move
we'll
on.
move on to something else. But I had the question and it totally disappeared. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's
Oh my
okay. We're
goodness.
just talking. We're just talking.
Yes.
So,
So your
and
book,
just so you know, I've been on over 50 podcast interviews. This is the first time that I've discussed my bulimia in detail. So I do
I
want to let you know that.
well, wow, thank you. I have no idea. That's wow. Thank you for your honesty. I really do want to thank you for your honesty as you're sitting here. You gave me goosebumps.
Well,
Um,
I am terrified that when this comes out, because I'm radically honest. I'm it's people have said unflinching, raw, harrowing. I am brutally honest, and at points it's hard to read because it's so dark.
mhm.
It is ultimately about redemption and resilience and hope, but the dark parts are dark. Um, but yeah,
So when your book when it is released,
March
where
17th.
I am so excited for you. Where can people find it?
So for now, it'll be on Amazon and like the Kobo and Nook and stuff like that. I have to send an email to Barnes and Noble. I'm getting in touch with their client relations managers. There are two stores in my area. So hopefully, wish me luck, say a prayer, put out positive energy, whatever you do,
Yes.
that they are willing to pick it up and it'll be actually sold in physical stores. So,
I
but
I hope so for you.
thank you. I'm going to the American Library Association conference in June, and that's to hopefully get my book into libraries. So,
Especially for those who are studying psychology or anything like that. I agree. It will help people have a better understanding. I haven't read it yet, but knowing some of the psychological problems that people face when it comes into traumas and how they act, I agree. It's something that needs to be taught and an
thank you.
understanding. Um, Also, I want to put out there um the little event that you have for your release date.
Yes, my Facebook live stream.
I would love for us to share a little bit about that and share a little bit about you and what's going to happen here in the next like month because this is exciting for you and this is a big achievement, a really big
I
achievement for you.
I got it today, like 45 minutes before we started talking. So this is the proof copy. I have to read it over the weekend and then tell my publisher, any changes that need to be made, and then it's time to load it up. It's done. It's real. It's live. So March 17th, it becomes available on Amazon to buy. It's an ebook as well as a paperback and a hardback. And I am doing a Facebook live stream, one at 1 p.m. Central Time and another at 7 p.m. And I'm only going to do like 30 minutes. I'm going to read a little bit from the book, not a lot, just a little bit from the book, and then trivia, Q&A with the audience, which hopefully more than two people show up.
There will be more.
And I've ordered a couple of swag items. I put my logo on a couple of items, water bottles and grocery totes. So
So,
giveaway, free stuff. So that's March 17th, and yeah, that's the official release date of my book. So
I'm really excited for you. I will definitely be getting one of your books because
thank you.
not I have so many people that I need to read books for, but I love them all and I love all of our guests, but yours is something that I feel that I can really resonate with and connect with somebody who understands the psychological abuse that you're going through. Now, I don't know the foster care part, but the mother-daughter dynamic
Hmm.
abuse and it being passed down. I definitely I
So
really
you're
feel
gonna
that
read it for you.
I'm gonna read it for me because I feel
Good.
that I can, and then I would love for you to come back on and we could talk more, and find more
Absolutely.
things that you're more comfortable talking with because this is a safe space and we're supposed to be able to talk about whatever you're comfortable with. And you being as open as you have been today, I can't appreciate you enough for it. I feel a little special, just a little bit.
You should. You should. I went to a place that I haven't been before with you. So thank
And
you
I
for being the person that let me open up and giving me a platform for my voice. Thank you for having me on the show.
Of course, and you're more than welcome to come back anytime you feel you want to. I've definitely, you keep bringing me to tears. That's why. I think
You're
this
not
is
the
just,
first host that I've made cry. It's happened on more than a few occasions, so don't feel bad.
I
In fact,
cried
I
the other
won
day.
a book award. I've entered like every book contest there is, And I won the award for the book that's most likely to make you cry. Yeah,
You're not supposed to laugh at that, but honestly, I can see that.
I know.
Actually, I can see
I
that.
like it's an award. My book got an award for most
You know,
likely to make you cry.
it's not entirely a bad thing, though. It's an eye
Yeah,
opener.
it's legit. It's
Yes,
real.
and it's happening for you. You're sharing your voice, and not only that, but you're giving me, honestly, because I have a very hard time opening up about mine. I'm still learning how to put it into words because I very much was one of those people who go, I went through it, it's done. I'm gonna go on to the
Right,
next thing. And then, but I have triggers and I didn't know what those were until recently, going, oh no, that's really happening. My mom
right.
can't even get angry on the phone without it triggering me because I know what it's like for her to rage and then lose her shit on me. Who did
Yeah.
she scream at? She screamed my name in her sleep. I was always in trouble. And I had somebody pinning things on me. I had a grown ass man pinning things on me my entire life, from the age of 5 until I was about 13. And, because yeah. And so
You know, I normally avoid pedophilia, but when I come back, I feel like my heart is telling me that we need to talk about that. You and I have a short you and I have a story and we need to talk about it.
I would
So
love
I
to.
I
I'm
don't
not
want to do
ashamed
that
of
today, but
No, I'm not ashamed of it, and I would love to talk about it. I'm glad to know that there's future episodes with you, and it makes me really my heart happy. And you know,
and you're going to show
I'm-
up for the live stream. You'll be at either the 1 p.m. or the 7 p.m. So I won't be alone.
I will be there rooting for you,
Awesome.
100%.
Awesome.
I feel that this is a magnificent journey for you. That you're coming into some completely new, but your book is gonna be something big. And
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
like I
That
said,
means a lot.
you're gonna help people have a voice. Mm.
That's my goal. That's what I want.
Yes, you are definitely gonna
Okay.
help people have a voice. All right.
Okay.
Is there anything that you would like to discuss today that you want to make sure we get in this episode today?
No, I feel like we've done a really good job of sharing and opening up and just being real with each other and
I agree.
vulnerable as well.
I
We've
definitely
both been
agree.
vulnerable, so I hope the audience enjoys it. And yeah, I look forward to the next time
I do
we
too.
have our episode. So
I do
it was
too. And
great, and thank you. I am honored and humbled by being your guest. So thank you.
you. I like to, and this is something I like to put out with my audiences and with my mom too. Of course, it's just me today. I like to let my audience know I can't ask my guests or other people to be vulnerable without me being vulnerable. And that's
Right.
why I am so open and such an open book for people to be on here. This is a non-judgment zone. Why are we going to judge? We've been through traumas. That's what happens. And I can't explain this enough to my audience and let them know if there's anybody who wants to share a story, who wants to talk, even if they want to stay anonymous while we talk about it, you can reach me at one two looking through THRU 34theglass at gmail.com. There's other platforms you can reach me on. There's also Facebook, TikTok. Those are also looking through the glass as well. And we also do have Podmatch and a couple other platforms that you can reach out us on. We are open to talk about anything. We like to have this is a safe space. And thank you again, Adrienne, for coming on and talking and being so vulnerable with me. I really
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
Of course.
And
Anybody who wants to reach me, I'm at Unbroken Caldwell. That's my website, as well as my social handle for Facebook, Insta, and LinkedIn. So
and I will say that I will have those in the footnotes for those who are driving and listening. That way they have an easier way to get to it.
awesome. It's been great, Giselle. Thank you.
And thank you so much.